Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this IOSH webinar on near-miss reporting. Very warm welcome to you all. Thank you for attending. My name's Simon Toseland. I'm Head of Health, Safety and Fire here at Birmingham Airport. I'm a chartered member of the Institute of Occupational Safety and Health, but also a member of the IOSH Aviation and Aerospace Group. I've been with Birmingham Airport now for just under 3 years.
Hello everyone, my name is Giles. I'm Health and Safety Manager here at the airport, and I've been working at the airport for 7 years.
So this session will be approximately 45 minutes in duration. Gary and I will aim to present for approximately 30 minutes, so that allows plenty of time at the end for questions. Please use the chat box to report any questions or comments that you might have as we go through the session, and we'll try and pick those up at the end. And we will make sure that the slides that we present to you today are made available to you post the presentation.
Okay, so a bit of background on the airport. Pre-pandemic, we had 12 million passengers, approximately 12 million passengers come through the doors. We now have around about 500 direct employees, but then on site, hopefully this summer, busy times, we will have up to 7,000. And as you can imagine, there's concessions, tenants, airlines, etc. So a wide variety of people on site, a wide variety of colleagues, but also a wide variety of hazards. We've listed just a few there, but obviously we do have asbestos on site, Legionella radiation, lots of vehicle and aircraft movements, lots of workers who perform manual handling tasks, and then from a public and customer point of view, slips and trips is obviously something that we really focus on as well as working at height. And I'm pleased to say in 2019, pre-pandemic, we were voted UK's best airport.
So just a little bit about the IOSH Aviation and Aerospace Group. We carried out a survey now back in the autumn of 2021, and we just asked 3 questions from our members. Pleased to say we had a tremendous response. So thanks for everyone who took part in that. But the first question we asked was, why are you a member of IOSH? What do you get out of it? And the most popular answer was that people use the membership to enhance knowledge and keep up to date. And then we asked, well, how is the best way for us to keep you informed? Overwhelmingly, the number 1 answer was through webinars. And we then asked you to sort of vote on what are the types of, or the key issues that you have within the aviation sector. And the number 1 answer was accident and incident management and near-miss reporting. So we hope that this presentation goes somewhere today to sort of meeting some of those requirements, and certainly the feedback that we got from the survey will formulate the strategy for the ANA group going forward. But just before we kick off in sharing Birmingham Airport's approach to near-miss reporting, I just thought I'd just pose the question of whether you think near-miss reporting is a proactive or reactive measurement of safety performance. Some people will argue, well, it is proactive because actually you're identifying an issue before an accident has happened. But the other argument is, well, hang on a moment, a hazard exists. It was only by luck actually that somebody didn't injure themselves. So I'm sort of keen to get your view on whether you think it's predominantly a proactive or reactive measure. And you can see there that there's a vote. So just take part in that, and we'll see what the results are at the end of the presentation. So our near-miss reporting was launched in September 2019. It was launched in conjunction with the airport community app. So Gary, perhaps you can tell us a little bit about how this works.
Yeah, sure can. And the fact that it was launched in conjunction with the community app was a real key for us and a real sort of benefit to us. The application is a smartphone application. It's aimed at all airport staff on site, and we use it at the airport as an engagement tool. So It provides live feeds, for example, for flight information for our staff. There's news on there, there's staff offers and discounts, and obviously there's near-miss reporting. So it's really simple to use. It's available to all staff on site, and yeah, and that is what it is. Okay, so for those of you that aren't familiar with the community app, the first image on the left-hand side is the home screen. As you go in, as you can see, it can really be tailored to suit the airport and how the airport works. So we've got a banner at the top, which is for latest news. Obviously, COVID-19 been very, very prevalent over the last couple of years. We've used it to get key messages out there for COVID-19. Then we've got some travel information, we've got some weather, we've got some travel network. But importantly, if you go to the menu, you can see in the middle image, we have near misses halfway down. And it's really straightforward. You click on near misses, and then you go through the fields that you can see on the third image: title, category, location, risk, is the issue resolved, which is really important. We'll talk a bit more in depth about that on future slides. A description, and then have you been able to resolve. You can also download photographs before it's sent. Really importantly, from start to finish, somebody will spot a near miss, log on to the app. Takes between 1 and 2 minutes for them to submit and ping over to us. So that is really advantageous for the person using it.
So why did you decide then, Gary, that improved reporting was required, and why call it a near miss?
Yes, we were aware that overall our near miss reporting was low, and we were telling the business that of how valuable the near miss and a successful near miss reporting culture was. And when we're using, for example, the bird triangle we've got there, just to highlight how important it was to find out how many near misses we're actually having, rather than go straight to accident investigation. And the aim was to spend more time investigating and following up near misses rather than accidents. Yeah, we'd use plastic boxes, as you can see from the image on the right. We'd use plastic boxes previously and cards with limited success. I think the site here, obviously at the airport, is quite complex. It's a big site. There's lots of different areas and different ways in which staff get to their location of work, and we'd always struggled to find a location that fitted everybody. When we first launched the boxes and cards, over the first 3 months, we had less than 100 near misses, which we were quite disappointed with. And we knew that if we could find a better way, we would use it, given the constraints of the site. And luckily, the application came through, and that was a major plus point for us. Why near miss? We did toy with other names. As you can see on the cards, it says safety improvement, good spots, and we were aware that we could use other names, but as we went into it, we really wanted to keep it simple. We wanted it to be quick and easy, so that people felt comfortable and didn't see the report of a near miss as too much of an effort. We understood sort of within the industry that near miss was a well-recognized term, and we thought it was keep it simple, easier to campaign and communicate, and therefore we went for near miss and near miss alone.
So just in terms of the app then, Gary, how or who has access to it, and how did we communicate it, particularly in sort of those early stages?
Yeah, again, we were fortunate. We had the launch of the app, the community app. We jumped on the back of that. We worked closely with the communications team, who produced posters, emails, etc., and did a full sort of communications and marketing campaign around the app. We also then focused on the various airport forums that we have. So for example, we will meet on periodic basis with all of our concessionaires, all of our airport airside partners, and we use those forums to spread the word. Lastly, we did walking tours, community with the community app communications team who walked around the site. We did a couple of mini road shows. We actually went to crew rooms and to back of house areas, and obviously encouraged as many people as we could to download the application.
That's great. I can see there that a whole wide variety of different forums were used. Like you say, you've got your posters, your emails, and I guess that was important to try and reach the whole airport community. Would you say that there was any of those that were perhaps more effective than others, or do you think it was just doing a whole broad range of communication that was crucial?
Yeah, I think getting out there, I think the walking tours, getting out there, speaking to people, showing that we were enthusiastic about it, and showing people how it works. I think that's probably the most important, coupled with the other measures, but certainly actually engaging with the people that we were hoping would use the app was key.
That's really interesting. Thank you. So obviously, as you explained, an individual would report a near miss on the app. They click send. What happens then?
Yes, they come to us. They come to us immediately. When I say us, I mean the health safety and fire team here at the airports. And that's really important that we have ownership. And as part of the campaign, when we were launching the near miss campaign, we were very keen to tell people that we would look at every near miss that came through. Yes, it's labor intensive, and we were aware that it was going to be labor intensive for us, but we just thought for people to trust the system and to trust that if they've gone to the effort to raise a near miss, it will be looked at. We thought that was absolutely key. So we do look at every single near miss that comes through. We do expect every BAL employee to partake in near misses. And we make that expectation clear, but we're after quality rather than quantity. So it certainly isn't a numbers game, and we don't give the message that you must report near misses. But what we do is we just try and make it really easy and clear for everybody that if they see a near miss, please don't walk past, please report it. And similar with other airport users, in honesty, it's more difficult with tenants, concessions and contractors. We constantly encourage them to participate in the program. We've had good take up, especially with the app. We've had a lot. I think we've got about 4,500 users in total, of which 3,800 of those are third-party concessions or contractors. So fantastic take up on the app. And yeah, the next phase, we're getting the information. The information is coming to us. What do we do with it? So it's really important that as a team we manage that we drill down on the data, and we take advantage of obviously the information that we have.
So in my experience, I've seen some organisations that actually set targets for near miss reporting, but it sounds like you didn't go down that route. Like you say, you emphasised the quality rather than quantity.
Yeah, we had targets within the team, so we knew that we wanted more. We knew that a certain amount would be satisfactory, but no, we never set targets. So we never sort of openly said to our staff or the wider community, we want to achieve a certain amount by a certain time. So yeah, I think that's really important, and just to re-emphasize, it is quality rather than quantity.
So obviously it's been running now for about 2.5 years. Have you seen an improvement in the numbers of near misses that are coming through?
We have, I'm glad to say. Obviously, we launched it back in September 2019. At that point, we had 21 near misses, which we knew wasn't good enough. We were consistently getting sort of that amount, and therefore we launched it. We gave it a good push, and we got up to just under 150 December 2019. Traditionally at this airport, at Birmingham Airport, the winter months are quieter periods, and the summer is obviously our busy period. So we were pleased. We were confident that the launch had gone well. We were seeing obviously a lot more than we had previously, and we were happy that that the launch was successful. Obviously, then the pandemic hit, which obviously knocked us all for six, especially the airport community, and with everything at the airport, the near misses dried up. We obviously didn't have passengers for a time. We had a lot less staff on site. But it was always in the back of our minds that when things, we didn't know when, but as soon as things were going to get back to sort of semi-normality, we were going to make sure that the near miss campaign was at the forefront of everybody's mind. We said from very early on, when things do get back to normal, and when we sort of reintroduce people back into the workplace and passengers back into the airport, we will make sure that the near miss functionality is at the forefront of everybody's mind, as I said, and we did that. It obviously, as everybody knows, it took longer than we thought, but as you can see, April last year, going through all the way through to January this year, as we've seen an increase in passengers and staff on site, we've also seen an increase in the near misses. And yeah, fantastic, the numbers that we've got in the last few months, you know, getting up to record amounts each month for November, December, January, over the 350 mark, is really encouraging.
So just a couple of questions from me then, Gary, actually, in terms of these trends. Did you notice anything whilst we were closed down during the pandemic? Did you notice that the near miss app was being used potentially for identifying COVID compliance, or assisting you in areas perhaps needed further attention as we were introducing the COVID measures?
Yeah, at first, no. I think it took people a while to get their head around COVID. I think it took us all a while to get their head around COVID, but certainly by sort of the summer, July, August 2020, we were seeing, we were starting to see COVID-related near misses coming through as people were finding their feet with the COVID situation. So at first, it was mainly around social distancing, and then eventually, obviously, moving on to the wearing of masks on site, etc. But yeah, we certainly saw an uptake in that, and I'd say that for some months during COVID, the majority of the near misses we had were COVID related.
Excellent. And obviously, you know, you can sort of see that down period there. It's almost a year, a best part of a year. So as staff came back to work, as people came back from furlough, did you make a conscious effort to re-educate? Obviously, you spoke earlier on about the different methods you use to communicate the app and the importance of near missing. Was that sort of reinstated sort of around about April last year to encourage people, to remind people about the process?
It was, yeah, it was. Again, easy with our own staff. So with the BAL staff, we've inducted everybody that came back to site after furlough, or any new starter to the business. We inducted them, and during that induction, we obviously made sure they had the application, they had the information that they needed, and we encouraged them to log near misses when and where they saw them. With third parties, it was a little bit more tricky. We have got various forms, as I mentioned, but we have also got a computer-based training, e-learning that all third parties do as they come on site and get a pass to work on site. And so we took opportunities where we could to reintroduce the message to them. Yes.
I can see, you sort of mentioned there the latest sort of numbers for the month of 361. That's an incredible amount of near misses. So what's the philosophy then around managing those and investigating those? Because presumably to investigate each and every one of those is going to, create quite a resource issue, I would imagine.
It does, yeah. And when we had original discussions about how many near misses we wanted and what success looked like, we always had at the back of our mind, it's fantastic, but how will we manage all the information that's coming through? And it is difficult. What we found is, and we found this quite early on, is you get trends and you get patterns. It might be a trend of a certain near miss. It may be a certain location. It may be a certain staff group that are reporting certain near misses. We're very important to us that we got back to everybody. So we put an automated message on the system. As soon as a near miss was raised, an automatic message went back to the person thanking them for logging the near miss. So very important that we thank them. We also asked them if the near miss was a fault with the infrastructure, if they could report it on 555, which is a fault number we use at the airport, and that was also important for us. We knew at the outset that we wouldn't just get near misses through the system. We did know that we would get at times incidents, although we don't get many incidents, but we would get faults coming through, and I think our philosophy was data and information is key, and if we know about it, we can do something about it. And so if we do get faults, we ask people to log it on the fault reporting system. But if they don't, we do it ourselves if needed. For example, a submission for a trip hazard in a walkway, it doesn't necessarily require full scale investigation, but it's all about the context and all about the content as well. So if it's repeatedly occurring, or it's an area that we're aware of, we've had issues there in the past, then we will do a full investigation as though it was an incident. But it really does depend on the content of the near miss. What I'd say is some near misses straight away, they stand out. You naturally triage in your head, and it's a red flag, and we think, oh, okay, that needs looking at. We do give people the option on the app to select high, medium, or low. As I said, we wanted to keep it simple, and we just use high, medium, and a low. What I would say with that is, it is very subjective, and what is high to one person is low to another person, and so that does take a bit of management by ourselves to go through, and don't obviously assume that if it's high it is high, and if it's low it is low. But yeah, all significant near misses are investigated, as you would expect. Then also, what is really useful is to take the trends that we're getting and present those to the business. And it may be seen as a relatively minor issue, but if we're getting lots and lots of near misses, it gives us it gives it weight, it gives it more kudos, and we can say, look, we've had 40 near misses with relation to this, and it is a very minor thing, but let's do something about it. So yeah, it all depends on the context and the specifics, but that's our philosophy.
So I was just thinking back to your earlier slide when you presented the app and how it worked, and there was a number of options which were dropped down, for example, the type of near miss and the location. So presumably when somebody does a drop down and fill it in, that's where we can obtain that data. Presumably the free text, then we wouldn't necessarily draw trends from that. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah. And when we were setting up the app, it was, as I say, we wanted to keep it really simple and straightforward, but we also wanted information. So we were very clear that we didn't want big long drop down lists of locations or reason, categories of incidents. So we tried to keep it to around about half a dozen, but with a bit of flexibility. So we had an other field, and we always knew that if we were getting a lot of specific categories that we could expand upon, we would change that and we would add them. And we did over the time add a couple of extra categories that we thought needed adding. Location as well, we kept it broad. We didn't want to, as I say, we didn't want a big long list, so we kept it really broad. Yeah, I think that's really important that you do that and make it as simple as you can for people.
So obviously, as I say, we said it's been running for about 2.5 years now, our near miss program. What kind of benefits are you seeing now, Gary, in terms of health and safety management?
I think that culture is everything. I really believe that a strong and positive near miss culture works absolutely in line with the overall safety culture, and I think that is probably the single greatest impact. It's that it's helped to improve the safety culture across the board. There are more conversations, just the fact that the amount of near misses we're getting, that's an opportunity to converse and to speak to people about safety. So there are more safety conversations happening from obviously all people at the airport. So first and foremost, culture, that is key, and that is the major benefit for me. We have also seen that it can save time and money. It allows us to focus our time and our energy and our cash on the issues that need to be focused upon. So it really has helped to align and focus our minds on specific safety issues.
So interesting you talk about culture there. So when we start thinking about safety culture, we think about engagement of safety at all levels in the business, from the very top CEO right through to frontline operatives, if you like. Have you sort of felt, particularly in this program, have you felt that we're getting that level of engagement at all levels?
Yes, we are. We really are. It helps that we have a CEO and an executive team that are on board and will lead and will push the near miss campaign. But yeah, we really have seen it at all levels. Certainly have.
And it's interesting there, we've sort of talked about, well, actually a near miss can prevent an actual incident from occurring. I'm going to ask you the question now, Gary. Has the near miss reporting had an impact on overall accident stats? Do you think we're in a position to come to that conclusion at this moment in time?
Yes, it has. I don't say that with absolute certainty, because obviously the pandemic has been strange times for all of us, and I think we've probably all found that during the pandemic, accident figures have been skewed massively. Depends on the industry you work in, it depending on the company that you work for. But certainly, if we look back to pre-pandemic times, if we look at our staff accident frequency rate, for example, the staff accident frequency rate now is about a quarter of what it was back in April 2019. So yes, we think it's having an impact, but obviously time will tell, and as we go into a post-pandemic era, we'll have a lot more information and be able to say with some level of certainty that is the case.
Thank you. So, I think it has been a truly successful program, particularly sort of where we were in sort of 2.5 years ago, and obviously with the pandemic as well. So just in terms of conclusion then, what do you put down to the success of the program? And also, are you looking to make any further enhancements to the system?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, we were helped. We were helped by the fact that we had the airport community app, and we were, we did jump on the back of that, and that did make things a little bit easier for us. I think we kept it simple, and we were clear that we wanted to keep it simple. We didn't want to get too hung up on detail with regards to what is a near miss, what is we wanted people to feel that they could use the app and use it with confidence and be thanked and encouraged to do so. We felt that sometimes in the safety world, it's easier to speak to people about what isn't being done right rather than what is being done right, and therefore we really wanted to positively encourage people, and therefore, for example, a great example is with the faults. If somebody puts a fault through the system, thank you very much, you've highlighted a fault that needs to be sorted out. We were very clear that we wanted to make that a positive message and not complain and say to people, oh, can you don't do that. So I think that was really important to the success. We didn't want to turn people off. We wanted people to trust the system. And then getting back the feedback, getting back to people is key. Sometimes just a simple thank you, but also following through and making sure people could see that near misses that we're putting through were actually being acted upon. Improvements going forward, there's lots that can be done. We actually think that the numbers that we're getting now are still tip of the iceberg. As I say, we have a big site with lots of people on the site, and we do feel that there's massive sort of room for growth with the near misses. And obviously what comes with that is enhanced data analysis. So we're working quite closely with the IT team to see how we can use the data, how we can cut the data in different ways. And we've started that. We've got a daily operations report, as you can see on the left hand side, which gives sort of a daily view of what near misses we're having and where, etc. But there's lots of ways in which we can manipulate, use the data to make sure we're focusing on the right areas. It's not always straightforward. It takes some technical knowledge from and help from the IT team, but we're certainly making great strides in that area. And then I mentioned that it's more difficult with regards to third parties. Naturally, third parties, concessions, contractors, tenants on site will have their own systems. They will be asking staff to report near misses in their own way, and quite often that can be confusing for staff if they're being asked to report a near miss in one way, and then obviously the airport company is asking them also to report it. So that is something that we're very aware of, and we've set up a near miss working group with our colleagues on site. The philosophy, the aim of that group is to promote across the site the importance of near miss and near miss reporting, to share information with each other so that we're aware of the near misses that everyone on site is getting, and ultimately to improve the safety culture and the culture around near misses.
It was really interesting what you mentioned earlier on when you talked about, well, actually, the most important thing is quality over quantity, particularly in these sort of last few months where we've, like you say, we've seen record number of near misses being reported in a month. Are we still seeing good quality near misses, if that's the right expression?
We are. I think the quality has improved over time. I think also we're seeing probably a lot more near misses that are a very important point to mention. When we started the app, we didn't have the question about have you been able to resolve the near miss yourself, and it was quite apparent early on that would give us that would be of great benefit. So we added that question. And what we found was that naturally asked people to take ownership, and sometimes a relatively easy near miss to resolve could be just by asking that question, can you resolve it yourself? So that helped with the quality, and yeah, generally the quality has improved, but it's always you're always going to get some near misses come through that you look at and you think, but as I say, we don't discourage anybody. We keep it positive, and we make sure we encourage everybody to use it and to use the app.
Okay, so thank you so much, Gary. I can see we've been talking for just over half an hour there, so that's perfect. And I can see that we have had a number of questions come through, so we'll take a look at some of these. So on the issue of quality and quantity of near miss reporting, what position has the higher the reportage, the higher the opportunity of addressing incident that may occur from unreported lapses? So yeah, I suppose, I mean, what we were talking about there in terms of quality is genuine near misses. You know, sometimes they might be hazard observations, sometimes they might be faults, like you said. But I think the key thing is that we do follow up on each and every one of those, and make sure that we give that feedback and make sure that, you know, we can still use that data, even though it comes in, it might not be a genuine near miss. Another point here, thanks, this is very interesting, and the same issues apply in other industry sector. Yeah, I completely agree with that comment from Sonia. I'm wondering whether the app being used is suitable for the outside the aviation sector. I'd be interested in your experience in managing concerns, either by staff. Do you have an anonymous reporting option? So I would say, first and foremost, there are a number of different near miss apps. The airport community app is a very you know, well understood app, if you like, within the aviation sector. But there are a number of different near miss apps that are available to people. So I would trial those as well. And, you know, I think, you know, there are other things I suppose to think about, Gary. You know, not everybody has access to a mobile phone potentially whilst they're at their work, or it may not be safe for people to use a mobile phone. So I guess there's some of the limitations of using an app.
Yeah, we did find that. I mentioned about the trends. Sometimes we were getting trends within the BAL staff group with regards to we were getting engagement from certain groups and others not so much. And certainly the staff that didn't have their phones available during the working day, we were seeing less engagement. And we worked with some departments to make it easier for people to report near misses. So if we had work iPads or we had work phones for a collective group of people, we encourage people to obviously go and use that facility to log the near miss.
Yeah, and interesting, Sonia always goes on to us, do you have an anonymous reporting option? We do have an anonymous reporting feature, but actually we overwhelmingly find that people want to get the feedback. They want to be told about what's happened and what actions we put in place to address the near miss.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. We do have the option. We also we did make a point quite early on to make sure that the information that we had come through to ourselves, we never sort of forwarded on to another person. Quite often with near misses, when they come through, we forward them on to another department to help resolve or to discuss, but we always make that anonymous, so that the person who reported it isn't obviously known. And then depends on what type of near miss it is. Sometimes I will make contact with the person and ask them, do you want to be involved and share, or do you want to remain sort of anonymous? So it depends on the near miss. But yeah, very much we were very much aware of this, and we wanted to have both functionalities available.
There's, I think we've just got time for a couple more questions. I can see there's a lot of questions coming through. If we don't get a chance to answer these on air today, we will go back and provide you with a response. But Tom's asked an interesting question. He says, you spoke about the inconsistent or quality of reporting. Have you reported or have you experienced over-reporting scenarios which is not actual a near miss or an injury that those colleagues are eager to report?
Some, but not as many as I think we expected. I think, yeah, we certainly thought at the start we would get a lot of eager people that wanted to report near misses, but they weren't actually near misses. You always get a percentage. I would say it's a low percentage. I'd say under 5%, about 3-4% of near misses that come through. But yeah, lower than we thought actually.
Just one final question then, Gary from Rig. He asks, do our other partners have access to the app and ability to report near misses? You know, you touched on our colleagues and our concessions and contractors, etc.
Yes. The app is open to everybody that works here at the airport. Yeah, it's open to everybody.
Okay, so just some just a few minutes left now. I can see that there's a feedback questionnaire that's just up on the screen. So for everybody on the call, really appreciate if you could take a few minutes just to complete that, give us your feedback so we can review that and hopefully take on board any comments for any future webinars. I thought it might be good actually now to bring the poll results up and see what people think, whether it's a reactive or a active. What do you think, Gary? What do you think is going to be the
I think proactive.
Yeah, so as you can see, quite interesting though, 66% of us felt it's a proactive. I personally, I think I would probably just edge to the side of it being a proactive measure for measuring health and safety performance. So that's interesting. Obviously 32% there saying it's reactive.
We had this debate in the office this morning between a group of us, and some people saying it's both. It's clearly both. It's both proactive and reactive. But I think I side on the proactive, and certainly to encourage a near miss culture and a culture of reporting near misses is certainly a proactive way to go.
Okay, so just in terms of signing off then, I'd just like to thank everyone for attending today. We really enjoyed chatting to you, Gary. So thank you very much for sharing your insights. And we do hope that, you know, what we sort of put across today, hopefully there's something there that you can take forward, some food for thought for your own near miss reporting process. Like I say, we will share the slides with you as well, and we'll take a bit of time post this just to go through and look at the Q&A box and feedback any questions that we didn't have time to cover today. Finally, just for me to sort of give a shout out to our chair of the ANA IOSH group, Mr. Rick Phillips. On my slides, I will make sure that I've put Rick's email address there. So again, we really welcome any feedback that you might have, either on this session or any future sessions, or if you've just got any general questions in terms of the AAA group and you'd like to get in touch, we'd love to hear from you. So it's a very strong thank you for everybody that's taken part, particularly those that put forward your questions in chat. We really found those interesting, and we hope to see you again soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.